Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's the Singapore Grand Prix of Season 2, round 15. A difficult circuit for us, a difficult challenge and a long challenge, but we'll jump straight into qualifying. We have relatively unworn parts, so reliability shouldn't be an issue this race. Have a couple of upgrades to the engine, but that's not going to make too much of a difference here. Mostly corners, very technical circuit. On to the first run that we do. Begin the lap. Hamilton goes fastest. We break into turn 1, but make a slight mistake at this point here, which nearly put in the barrier but managed to catch. That's definitely going to cost us a lot of time as we come across. We're third, 7/10 down. But surely that will drop even further later on in the session. We fast forward to the last chance, only a minute left, a minute and a half left in the session, so this will be the final lap. It's currently sat 9th. We really do need a top 10 start here. A little bit wide through turn 1, but coming out of that section of corners we're already almost a second up. Lost a little bit of time coming through here, could have carried more speed. Hit the DRS. 0.8 of a second up, so it will be a better lap. It should be a better lap anyway. At the 50-metre board, turn in. Hooked that one up nicely. So many corners here at Singapore, literally corner 90 degree, corner 90 degree. Big mistake there. Back in, slapped round. An even bigger one here as we make contact with the barrier. With so many corners yet to come, that's gonna
be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor damage.
Really damage our chance at a top 5 anyway. But can we make it through and keep that positive delta? Still a second up, 1.2 seconds up. And as we come through the final sector of the lap, which is a number of chicanes. Third gear, get it hooked up. Trying to deal with the understeer best we can. 1.1 second up. We come under the grandstand. Through the final chicane. Now just a couple of corners to go. Take as much track as we can there. 0.9. We come through the final corner. We run wide just a little bit. And where does that put us for the race? With qualifying now over, it's time to look to the race. The night race of Singapore. Chance of safety car is very high here, obviously because of the closeness of the walls and the number of corners. This was famously the track of the Renault crash scandal with Nelson Piquet. And obviously we spun here in Season 1, which paid to a good result. I think we finished 7th in the end, which is a little bit frustrating. Hopefully we don't do the same thing this year. Looks like a Red Bull front row. Verstappen still leading the championship, it's important to remember. I think he's got pole for this one. And there's also a Williams quite high up the grid, which is interesting. George Russell had a good qualifying session there. So it will be an interesting start to the race. And as you can see, we can start 6th place. I think we actually qualified 7th, but Lando Norris had.
Okay, our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
So Norris had a penalty, which put him from pole position down to 11th. So Verstappen, Butler, Russell, Hamilton, Ricciardo, then us. Vettel, Leclerc, Sainz, Weber, Norris with the penalty, then Gasly. The racing point. Bottas starts 15th, so that's a really poor qualifying from the second Mercedes. Be interested to see what he can do coming through the field there. Yeah, so a little bit frustrating that Lando couldn't start from pole. We really did need that second car up there to mix it with the Red Bulls as they come back from the formation lap. Confirmation that Verstappen is on pole. He's got his rear gunner teammate. Will Butler play that game this race? We don't know. He's quite a hothead. Doesn't like to play by the rules. But anyway, we have 5 red lights here in Singapore. And the Singapore Grand Prix is underway. Everyone's had a pretty average start. I think Ricciardo's actually had a decent one. He's got around the outside of Hamilton. We've had a alright late lunge into turn 1. And kept ahead of both Ferraris. Now Ricciardo tries to challenge Russell up the inside for 3rd position, the final podium position. It's amazing to see a Renault that far up this season. But more importantly, Verstappen's being challenged for the lead by his teammate Butler. Butler up the inside. Respectful driving between the two Red Bull teammates. Verstappen is not giving up the position, although he has to think about the championship, and Butler gets through. Butler, Verstappen, Russell, Ricciardo. So that was the first lap. Now our task is to hunt down Hamilton. Well, it looks like we've done that, but try and find a way past. Ricciardo's Renault is a bit slower, so things are going to start bottling up quite quickly. As we come through the end of that lap, we've got a good run on Lewis, but for some reason
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
Don't have the straight line speed, but we've got the braking ability because he's got choked by the Renault ahead, and that's us through round the outside. And you see on the replay, it's just we were able to brake so much later with this interesting camera angle. One lap later and we've caught the back of Daniel Ricciardo. Have to make light work of this Renault if we want to progress up the field and get a decent points finish to help our championship cause. So much more grip through the final sector and traction through these last couple of corners. Even had to slow down there just to avoid hitting the back of the Renault.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums. We're leading our teammate by 2.1 seconds.
We're up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo for 4th place. Team radio there, not the best time for Jeff to be talking to me, but nonetheless we get the job done.
In this lap, push now.
So boxing this lap, we're on a 2-stop strategy. It's soft, medium, medium, which is what the team recommended to be the fastest strategy. They didn't even contemplate the 1 strategy apparently. So it'll be interesting to see if any cars do go down that route and put the hard tyre on at this stop as we make our pit stop. However, from practice it didn't look like the hard tyre would actually last 50% distance. So if anyone does try that 1-stop strategy, they will be very vulnerable at the end of the race.
Engine is showing small signs of wear. Power output will be down.
Okay, so we have some engine wear there. I'm not sure how that's come about, considering this was a fairly unused component.
That's a new fastest lap for the race.
As we pick up fastest lap. We have clean air and fresh tyres, so it's unsurprising really. Hamilton is behind on the hard tyre, so it looks like he's going to try the 1-stop or go as long as he can and maybe switch to the soft tyre later on in the race. We've caught the back of Lance Stroll in the Toro Rosso. We'll be all over the back. Great traction there. But he is on worn medium tyres. We go to the inside. Late on the brakes. We have the inside line. It's going to give us the position. And we take it up to 13th. Next up, Alex Albon, the other Toro Rosso. Bottom of the Constructors Toro Rosso. We have a great run through that corner. We've had it against nearly every car. Now we go to the inside with DRS. Should get the move done before even the corner. Run wide a little bit though, misjudged with the DRS open. But a textbook move nonetheless. Next up, Russell, who we are racing who we are actually racing here. It's a bit strange, these other cars haven't pitted yet, so we are ahead of them. There's just so much traffic, and that's Butler ahead, so we're actually in the fight for second place at this point. Just so close to the Williams in front, but you can't do anything through this section of corners, there just isn't the space. Having to follow all the way, and I'm not sure where Verstappen is, if Verstappen has traffic, but if they're in clean air, they're going to have a massive advantage come the end of this stint. We have another great run through that corner. DRS open. Not quite got the straight line speed of the Williams, but late on the brakes. That is P9. An effective third place in this race.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Okay, so the team are requesting a new strategy, or suggesting a new strategy. Lap 20 they want to pit now for the medium tyres. Lap 18
Understood, copy that.
was our previous, so maybe these tyres are actually lasting more than the team thought, more than we thought. Caught the back of Romain Grosjean. Just going to have to sit behind the Haas until we get to the DRS point before we can make an overtake, because there's no point lunging here. It's odd because I think these tyres might actually last the distance, or at least go a lot longer than the next 7 laps, but it's hard to say until you're actually there, because we're having to get past a lot of drivers. Grosjean defends the inside, we've gone to the outside. Grosjean locks up a little bit but doesn't make contact with the side of us, and managed to get through around the outside like we did against Lewis on lap 2. Haas drivers did not make it easy for us, but we're through. Next up, Devon Butler. He's on the hard tyre. Could be one stopping or switching on to the soft tyre, which will make him a threat later on. It looks like he's doing the team game for Verstappen though, and holding us up as much as he can, because as you can see we're second place in this race, which means Max Verstappen has pitted for another set of the mediums.
We're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
As we will do this lap. But Butler holding us up here is not good, because when we pit we could be in traffic, and that's going to destroy our chance of a podium in this race. We have the DRS, we go to the inside, we can't, we go to the outside, we have to lift off.
Lando is in the pits. Lando in the pits.
We're up the inside of Devon Butler, and we have the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. But it will be short-lived, as we need to pit this lap. To get out the throttle there, to not career into the back of the Red Bull. But it does show you how much more grip the mediums have over the hard tyre. As Butler goes through. And with the way the pit exit is here, you lose a lot of time, and we have fallen into 8th place in a lot of traffic. I think there's 4 cars ahead of us and stuck behind Bottas for half a lap. I don't think the 2-stop was the best strategy for us, considering how low we were on the grid and we couldn't build that gap.
Our gap behind is 1.9 seconds.
Which is unfortunate. So the chance of a podium has probably gone here, but we have to fight our way back up to 4th or 5th place. Bottas is driving away from us. We don't have the electrical energy to attack, but we just dive up the inside on the brakes. We switch to the TV cameras. We now have the inside line, and that's the move done. We want to avoid as much of this kind of combative racing, because it will end up putting us in the barrier if we're not careful. Now up the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, last of the late breakers. Don't think he sees us there, and there's contact. Luckily we don't damage any of our car, as it looks like a racing point of Gasly pits. This time we get a decent run on Ricciardo. He can't defend the inside line, but he's got so much more straight line speed. Late on the brakes into turn 1. Give each other room. That's P5. Next up, Lucas Weber, our old F2 teammate. Contact with the back of the house, just mistimed that one a little bit, but no damage luckily. So we come under the grandstand bridge.
Butler's out in front.
So that's interesting. Butler leads the race by some distance on the mini-map there, so that's handy. He's on the hard tyre. I would imagine they're going to the end now. Seems a lot of drivers are doing that. So we go to the inside of Weber, but he weaves under braking. That's not fair. That's a little bit dangerous too. We will get another opportunity at the next DRS zone.
Green flag.
Put the fuel mixture into Rich. He covers the inside, but we're going to take it anyway. And just as we do that,
Virtual safety car, reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta.
the VSC is deployed. I presume we were in front at the time it was deployed because we did not get a penalty. Now this is Charles Leclerc retiring from the race, the cause of the virtual safety car. Now we are back under racing conditions. The live championship is up. Verstappen is running second, which would extend his lead in the championship by 16 points. So it's our job now to chase down Lewis Hamilton, who's still on those old hard tyres, so we do have a tyre advantage.
Ahead of you, they're on old hards. Their tyres are 19 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:43.7. You're taking 2.5 seconds out of them each lap.
So 2.5 seconds a lap. We can only assume that Verstappen has the same advantage over Butler, with a much smaller gap, so we really do.
Gap to car in front is 5.5 seconds.
We really do have to erode that 5-second gap to Hamilton and get a podium position here. Big look up.
Verstappen's out in front.
So Verstappen now leads the race. That's had massive championship implications because now there's going to be around a 23-point gap. And here it is. This is Verstappen around the outside of Butler. Butler is trying to defend the position, but does not have the tyres. I think Verstappen almost puts his teammate in the wall there. Butler trying to retaliate, but there's nothing there the young Brit can do.
This is your final lap of the race.
We're on the final lap and we can see Hamilton just ahead of us. So close. So much more speed than the Mercedes, but just not enough time as we come through the final sector. Must be about a second now. We lock up though. That's going to cost us time. Verstappen wins the race. So close to the back of Lewis Hamilton. We're not even going to have DRS because the line is so close to the DRS detection zone. 2, maybe 3 more laps and we would have got third place. But we're going to have to settle for fourth. We make a mistake on the last corner as well, and that's fourth place for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Nice work, you did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
A good result considering it's not a track that we particularly go well at, and to pick up points from a midfield position, 6th place. Okay, yes, upper midfield, but it could have gone so wrong with the number of cars that we had to pass. Good result from Valtteri Bottas, starting 15th, finishing 6th, so that was good. I think we probably should have switched onto the harder compound tyre because we might have ended up winning this race, or even finishing second. So confirmation of the results. Yes, Verstappen did win with fastest lap. We did pick up a 4th. That's really handy in the championship because I was expecting maybe a non-points finish here. Lando Norris coming home in 9th. That could have been so much better if we started from pole position. Could have been the top 5, 2 top 5 for the McLaren. Just going to impact on the Constructors' Championship. Moving on to the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen has a 23-point lead, which we hope to erode at the next Grand Prix in Russia. Butler 3rd, Hamilton in 4th. So not much has changed on the second half of the table either. Just maybe the Renault drivers moving up a little bit. Red Bull still leading the constructors from us at an 88 point gap. That's probably not going to change too much from now to the end of the season. Anyway, that's it for the F1 content. You've got the weekly livery challenge coming up next, and then a midweek lobby session replay. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.